30 seconds and counting. 25 seconds and counting. We are still go. 20 seconds. Guidance alert. The guidance system now going internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening to viewers in Africa and Europe. Good afternoon to viewers in most of the Western Hemisphere. Good very early morning to viewers in the Pacific Rim, and welcome to a very special and unusual episode of The Angry Astronaut. As you can see, this time I am not alone. I am joined by Chris Garris, who is actually sponsoring this event as well, from the Transporter Room. And this is much more his idea than mine in terms of what's going to be happening here to commemorate 200,000 subscribers. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, thank you so much for making this happen. I know a lot of the people who are watching right now are people who've been around for a long time. So I deeply, deeply appreciate everything that you have done to make this channel what it is today. So I'd like to introduce Chris Garris to all of you, the owner of the Transporter Room. Take it away, Chris.
All right. Thank you for the introduction. Today, I wanted to, you know, celebrate the fact that the Angry has made it to 200,000 subscribers. That is a, huge, huge accomplishment that I am striving to get there myself one of these days. And that's why we're doing this, is to collaborate together, because that's really what I want to do with not just Angry, lots of other channels. But I've been a Discord member, a Patreon member, so we have been doing this for a while. We actually did some collaborations earlier in the year when I decided to take this make this plunge to become a content creator. I was warned, "Do you really, really want to do this?" And I said, "Sure, why not? It's not that." Yeah, I probably should have listened to producer when he's asked me if I really wanted to do this or not.
Yeah, we got the same
But
producer for both of us. By the way, Robert De La Cruz, thank you so much, also known as Airborne Bob. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it tonight. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Mhm. Oh, and no problem. And so now, Aaron, ASN producer, you're gonna have to, run the chats or anything like that if there's something, because I'm just looking at this right now. But I went ahead and I pulled together, a few videos. I've made a one long video that shows somewhat of an evolution. Um, it's going to um, it's going to start with some of the intros, because I've only been, an Angry Astronaut, Patreon and follower for about a year. So when I started going into this, I was like, what did it start? How did the channel start, and what did it start from? And I wanted to see how much, it has evolved. So, the videos I've chosen are some from the very beginning, and then some of the highlight live streams, which I'm just going to be honest what they are. I'll tell you right now, it's Starship,
Mhm,
Blue Origin, and then of course I had to throw some alien stuff in there.
mhm.
So, kind of my idea is I will play the video, and producer, you may need to, I don't know if you can, or if I need to, may turn the volume down on it some, so that Angry can actually talk about what in the world was going on, and his thought processes and everything during these videos. So I'm going to transition, hopefully,
John, thank you for
and
the tenor. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
and here we go.
Oh, God. Remember, guys, you cringe, you lose.
So this was the first intro I found.
Yeah, this shows what happens when I do things like this, as opposed to, my talented supporters.
But I will say, as we progress, it does get better. It really shocked me.
Well, that's because I wasn't doing it, probably.
That was the first one I found.
Yep. That's one that I made.
All right, here we go. Here's number 2. And I caught it because we changed the videos or pictures.
Still me, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yep.
So,
Oh.
yeah.
Senseless destruction.
This
Yeah, when I used to blow things up. Yep. And there I am, the terrorist, the terrorist astronaut.
Yes. And now we go to what we're used to seeing today, I hope.
I think it's looking a little choppy.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll get a little bit
Most
better.
of you guys are familiar with how that stuff looks. That's just my new intro stuff. It's when people who know what they're doing actually started taking over the intros.
And so that's the intros. So now what I'm going to lead into next will be, I don't think it was actually the very first video. I think it comes in as number 2 or 3. I think it was the third one.
Thank you,
It was
Todd.
your first actual.
Thanks so much.
Your first angry astronaut video.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about my first couple of videos, actually, once we have a look at this one, if you like. For those, because some people have actually gone back to the very first video that I ever made, and they wonder, what were you doing back then? But no, let's go ahead and have a look at one that's actually space-oriented.
Somewhat space-oriented, yes. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the match of the century. Who is ripping off the American taxpayers more? In the blue corner, weighing in at 2.4 million.
I think it's lagging, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got a lag going on.
Rovers to the surface of Mars. They sent probes beyond the reach of the solar system. Get it up for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Of course, I've got Boeing in the corner here because they are also known as Boeing's bitch. Get it up! And in the red corner, of course, weighing in at almost 1 million pounds of thrust. He may be lightweight, but he can kill you from 50 feet away by just looking at you. He's the most popular dictator on the face of the planet. And everybody knows that Donald Trump is his bitch. Get it up for Vladimir Putin! Trump, he's a bitch.
Christ.
Good evening. Welcome to what was supposed to be a final update on the Lego giveaway. But there have been some developments in space policy that absolutely could not be ignored. I know
So now we have another one.
Fake, but this really wasn't. I wasn't expecting to do this, but it has to be addressed. This is a call to action, and it has to do with Project Artemis. Let me try to explain. Now, a lot of my colleagues on YouTube who report on space prefer to avoid any sort of political discussion or debate.
This was a fun one. The part that I clipped out.
I'm glad you think so.
Well, here in a second.
Oh my God. Thank you. Greatest of all time. Thank you so much for the 100 quid. My God. Thank you, David.
Wow.
Purely on the science. As I say, I understand it, I respect it, but at the same time, in my opinion, this is entirely too important. And if people think that I'm politically polarized, I don't give a shit. That felt really good. Let me say that again. I don't give a shit.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you remember this one. I wasn't, oh, I wish we could do something, but
It's probably best that all of this is lagging as much as it is.
You that we're already exploring space, whether it be passing over the Bahamas, like in this shot from the ISS. Just look at that water. Unreal. Or passing over the Baltic Sea, Germany. Just a lovely sight. Difficult to even put it into words.
Yeah, we
Or
got
this where the Dragon
there
resupply
we
ship
go.
is being released by Canada's robotic arm. It's proven so reliable for us, not only on the ISS, but on the space shuttle as well. Or firsthand evidence of climate change, undeniable evidence from this titanic storm, unlike just about any storm we've ever observed, wreaking havoc on our planet, looking so serene here. But in order to pass beyond low Earth orbit, we're going to need something. A new type of transportation system that can haul heavy cargoes a great distance. What we do not need is
space launch system. SLS will be the most powerful rocket ever.
What we do not need is SLS.
This system is capable of being the catalyst for deep space missions.
Yeah, whatever. It is tragic indeed. Some of the most talented engineers and scientists in the United States have been hard at work on this unbelievably expensive and inefficient piece of junk. And if we don't stop the SLS somehow, it is going to single-handedly destroy any hopes that NASA or anyone who has been naive enough to come along with us for the ride of getting to the moon, Mars, or to any place else. And welcome to the second installment of
This is when you were giving away your Lego sets.
Mhm.
On the Angry Astronaut. Before we get to the subject at hand, I need to talk about something. I've exceeded 1,100 views now, but 86%.
Do you remember the days when you were like just 1,100 views was?
I also remember when I was trying to get to 100 subscribers, just 100 subscribers. And of course, I would say the fact that I was trying to look like a terrorist probably didn't help much. Actually, the whole idea is I was somebody trying to conceal his identity from the powers that be that would assassinate me or whatever. That was my persona back in the day.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I was wondering what, pandemic. I was like, pandemic, but I don't know.
Yeah, and that's actually a snood that I got in Britain. When you get a chance, I'll tell you that my first video that I ever shot for this channel was shot in the UK, believe it or not.
We can get to 100 subscribers by the end of January.
This was your 100 subscriber push.
Yep, I was pushing for 100 subs.
One of my subscribers. In addition to that, I'm giving away my original prize.
Thank you so much, 123. Thank you for the 20 quid. Really appreciate it.
All it takes is one click.
There's a few other ways that you can increase your chances. Now, the marketing experts at YouTube
I love
say
this.
that this is a crazy idea. That the only subscribers that I'm going to get are people who are going to want all these awesome Legos.
Now, this is a man I'd love to have as a subscriber.
This was a
but
good one right
sadly
here.
I
When I was,
can't, because he passed
I will
away
say,
back in
probably the hardest part of all
2017 at
this,
the age of
you have
82.
so many
He was Gene
videos trying to
Cernan,
figure out what to pull.
last human being
I did
ever seen.
have made way too many. Well over
And the lead-
1,000. It's crazy. Just crazy.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
My
the one.
lady-
I remember this one that I made about Gene Cernan.
Mm-hmm.
during the golden age of spaceflight at NASA. Matter of fact, my uncle gave me an opportunity to watch the maiden flight.
I remember when we talked about this a little
That's
bit
my
in the interview.
uncle. That's Uncle George.
And this is the latest graduating class of astronauts who hope to walk in Gene's footsteps one day. And it saddens me to think that they may never get that opportunity because of what I'm about to discuss in this video. I hope I'm wrong. But unfortunately, the more I learn about the SLS, the more I'm convinced that I am not wrong. This thing has cost us $17 billion so far, $5 billion over budget.
Yep.
It should have flown years ago, and yet we still don't even have a prototype. It is sinking the entire Artemis budget, and yet it's almost impossible to get rid of.
So that's the first round of videos that you came out. Obviously, you can see what the next stuff is. So now we transition to
Yeah,
the more fun videos.
a lot more recent. A lot more recent.
Oh yeah, well, a lot more recent, and it's going to start with obviously, IFT1,
Mhm.
and then then the next one will be the catch. And basically what I wanted to do is just get your reaction to which is was everyone's reaction that day. So this is IFT1.
She goes.
But I remember, I can tell you personally, when this was going on,
There it goes.
this is when I subscribed to YouTube Premium.
I was outside for this.
Yes.
I can't hear it. Oh, there we go. Chris, turn your Discord audio off. The crisp audio or whatever on Discord.
Okay, I'm gonna pause that for a minute then, so I can go do.
Okay, we're gonna see if this works here. This was an incredible moment, the very first launch of Starship. Although I have to admit, the first launch of SLS was an incredible experience too. That's where my feelings about SLS changed, when it actually did what it was supposed to do, when it actually showed me something. My views on SLS softened. But anyway.
Okay, let's see. All right. Hope I don't break anything.
Let's see if this works.
My head is spinning. Look at it go. It goes, shaking the hell out of
We're into pitch over. Propulsion reports first stage engines.
amazing.
Keeps cutting in and out, unfortunately.
Difficult to describe.
What? Now, I don't know. I mean, my audio might have been lost a bit during this too.
Oh yeah, no, you were cutting out. You personally, you were cutting in and out during recording.
Yeah. So what was going on during all of this is that I couldn't get an internet connection that was anywhere close to the liftoff point. So I was considerably up South Padre Island, several kilometers north on South Padre Island, and didn't actually see Starship lift off. Instead, all I got to see was when it was in the air.
Now we have this is
the catch.
4. The catch.
Okay, so here we go with the catch. Yeah, this is incredible too.
Which still to this day just amazed me.
Here it comes. Oh my God. Are they going to be able to pull it off? It will
Chris, your audio is very low.
Here we come. Here we come. We are, again, oh, the landing burn looking good. Do they have a capture? Do they have a successful capture? Do they have a successful capture? Did they do it? It looks like we've got it. Again, I'm getting a little bit ahead of you guys, but it looks like we're going to pull this off. It looks like it's going to get pulled off. Do they have it? It looks like they have it. They have it. Oh my God, they pulled it off. Oh my God, it looks like they pulled it off. Again, we got to be careful about early celebration here, because we got to see what happens to the booster after the catch. But it does appear that this has been accomplished on the first attempt. An amazing, stunning, astonishing accomplishment for SpaceX with this amazing, successful capture.
All right. So let's talk about that for just a minute.
Sure.
I mean, 'cause you were there for that one,
Mm-hmm.
for the catch.
No,
What
I
was
wasn't
it
there
like?
for the catch. I was just there. I was just there as it happened, but I was reporting on it from remote cameras. I have yet to see a capture in person. I have
Okay.
not seen it.
So what was it like though when you were down there for the first one to actually, I mean, to feel, could you feel all of the rumbling and
Oh,
everything from
it was so loud it blotted out everything else. It was louder than any other noise on the island by far. It was just a roaring unlike anything else I can describe, unlike anything else I've ever experienced. And once again, keep in mind, I was several kilometers north on South Padre Island. I couldn't get a location that had internet, and an internet connection for live stream coverage. So I only just ran outside to see it after it lifted off. And yet the noise, yeah, it was just a deafening roar. And then of course you got to see the rocket pitch over, out of control, that sort of thing. It was very apparent that there were problems with it on the first launch, because but I mean, thank God that we got an opportunity to see it as it was, given the amount of damage that Starship wrought on the launch mount and on the concrete and all the debris it chucked around. The fact that that rocket survived that experience and didn't just detonate on the pad was nothing short of miraculous. So yeah, quite an incredible experience. Just blew my mind.
Mhm. Now, so next one is Blue Origin. I had to put them in there because they actually have been more successful than SpaceX, in all honesty. Um,
As
um,
far as their flagship rocket is concerned, yeah, because they not only achieved orbit, they achieved a pretty ambitious orbit with a very high apogee. So,
correct. And so I'm gonna switch out here for a little bit. So, what stories do you have that you either haven't put out on YouTube yet, or anything that new stuff that you can talk to us about?
well, it's the one thing to keep in mind is, like I said, my first video that I ever shot was in Britain. And the idea that I had at the time was, I knew that I kind of wanted to do something spaceflight oriented. I just wanted to do a video to see what it would take to do a video. And I just did something about this backpack that I had brought with me that I'd gotten at a US Army surplus store, and I hated it. It was a piece of garbage. And so I was talking about how I was in a hotel at Gatwick. How I wanted to toss it out the window. There was a dumpster down below my window that I wanted to chuck it into, and all that. And I just did a few minute discussion of the backpack. And then my son and I, and one of the reasons why we had our facial features covered is because he actually helped me with my second video, and we had our faces hidden because he didn't want to be identifiable, recognizable on the internet. And we destroyed the backpack with a whole bunch of pyrotechnics. So yeah, and then all of a sudden we transitioned into space. But what I said at the end of that video is, what the hell does this have to do with space? And I said, this is symbolic. This was a real stretch, but I said, this is symbolic of how I'm going to be talking about space. It's going to be irreverent. It's going to be critical. It's going to be an editorial sort of thing and not very respectful. If I think something sucks, then I'm going to call it as I see it.
Mhm.
With just like how I felt about this backpack, I got to learn how to make videos, although they were terrible at that time, as everybody's had a chance to see. But yeah, it all changed. It just kind of went from there. I can't begin to believe that 200,000 subscribers after about 5 years, 5.5 years actually.
Mhm.
It really does blow my mind.
Oh yeah. And so after, so now we've had Starship, we've had Blue Origin. Do you think, what is your opinion, honestly, and you'll give us the honest to truth. Um, let's just start with, what do you feel about Blue Origin and how they're gonna, are they gonna succeed, you think? We've only had one launch so far. I mean, what's going on? I
Well,
mean,
I mean, in terms, will they be a competitive company? Yeah, they will.
yeah.
But of course, the reason they will is not because I think they have a great business model or that they've been
Mhm.
doing things right, because they really haven't in many ways. If they were not backed up by the second richest person on the planet, they would have
Mhm.
failed by now. They would have folded after all these years with no tangible results aside from New Shepard. And New Shepard
Yeah.
doesn't produce enough revenue to produce a lot of profits. So, given the fact that they have that kind of financial backing and that Jeff Bezos isn't going to let this thing die, I think that they do stand a very good chance of being successful. But again, that's largely because of their financial backing, which, by the way, is one of the reasons that Rocket Lab is as successful as it is too, because Peter Beck is a billionaire founder who is 100%, in his case, 100% focused on Rocket Lab, 100% focused on that. He doesn't care about anything else except Rocket Lab, and he's not going to let Rocket Lab fail. And again, that's one of the reasons why they've been as successful as they are.
Mhm. So what about the next launch of Starship? What do you
They
think?
need to start going somewhere with it. I mean,
Mhm.
they've had some amazing accomplishments. Don't get me wrong. The whole booster thing, the fact that they had a booster catch, that they've gotten quite good at that booster catch thing. That is truly remarkable, but it's only remarkable if they can effectively reuse the booster again and again. Yes, they reused one of them once, but it failed after that. It only got one reuse and then it failed. That doesn't even begin to measure up to Falcon 9's consistency and level of success. So yeah, they've got a ways to go, and this flight 10, they really need to start having some success here, because a
Okay.
lot of people have lost faith in them, in Starship, not in
Yeah.
SpaceX, but in Starship.
Correct. Because, the boosters are doing great. It's just they've got to get the Starship itself has got to be successful, and it has yet to proven that it can. It can't keep going up, and that's I've always wondered. And I don't know if what you might think about this is, you know, how many more Starships can they lose before it's? I don't know.
An infinite number. I mean, until Elon gives up on it. I mean, once again, we're talking about a guy who has, just more money than many countries, than the entire
Mhm.
gross national product of many nations. As long as he remains committed to the Starship program, he can just keep doing this and doing this and doing this. As one of the channel supporters, Darth Rust, who does a lot of work for this channel, unfortunately, he's had to step back a little bit lately because of work requirements. And I'll tell you something, I felt that this guy did so much for the channel. But in any event, what he said, it's not about the rocket, it's about the rocket factory. And that's actually very true. Their ability to produce Starship after Starship after Starship in rapid succession like this, rapidly evolving
Mhm.
between different blocks, different versions of it, new Raptor engines. I mean, there is a lot of room here to keep blowing up starships and yet continuing to move forward with the project. I still have a good degree of confidence that Starship can ultimately be successful. What the problem is, though, the problem that exists at the moment is the fact that Starship is also what we're relying upon for Artemis 3, for putting humans on the moon. And honestly, at this point, I'm starting to feel that Blue Moon is going to get that job done before Lunar Starship is going to get the job done.
Yeah. Could you explain that to the followers and the viewers about how in the world is Blue Moon potentially going to beat them? You said what, 3 months is the last video I saw?
Yeah.
How is that going to happen?
Well, Blue Moon Mark 1 has been worked on ever since 2017, 18, 19. They've been working on Blue Moon for a very long time. Blue Origin doesn't show us anything. They don't reveal any information about what they're working on. They're ridiculously secretive, more so than anybody else. So as a result, you don't get a chance to see these things. But the Mark 1 version of Blue Moon will very probably be ready to go before the end of the year, by October, November, something like that, to land on the lunar surface. And where that is a very big deal is, even though this is an unmanned cargo delivering version of Blue Moon, number one, it's the biggest vehicle that will ever attempt to land on the moon. It's bigger than the Apollo LEM. It's bigger than anything that's ever attempted to land on the moon. It uses all of the same landing technology and the same engines as the upgraded, the Blue Moon Mark II, which will carry people. So if this works, then the potential for the upgraded version of Blue Moon working is definitely there. Now, let me tell you something. I never would have said this a couple of years ago. I had zero faith that Blue Origin was going to be successful and could land people on the moon anytime soon. And their national team idea to get people on the moon fast, that 3-stage monstrosity with the 30-foot ladder, 10-meter ladder, and all that was one of the worst designs I've ever seen in my life. So I really had zero confidence. But now with the new designs that they have, and if they do indeed land Mark 1 on the lunar surface before the end of the year, and given how well New Glenn did on its first flight, I feel very confident that they'll be able to. Then I think that they're well on their way. And also it's going to take a lot less work, a lot less infrastructure for Blue Moon to land on the lunar surface versus Lunar Starship. Lunar Starship requires so much refueling in orbit. Therefore, so much progress has to be made in that regard. So many things developed, whereas Blue Moon doesn't require nearly as much refueling. And also, as I've mentioned in a number of my videos lately, it's possible to pair up Blue Moon with the Centaur 5 upper stage from the ULA Vulcan Centaur and get Blue Moon all the way out to lunar orbit without any refueling. You might be able, if you combine those two elements, you could probably eliminate the need for refueling. And that wasn't my idea. That was an idea of somebody over at America's Space, which is a great source of information about spaceflight. And whereas Lunar Starship can't get to the moon any way except the way that it's designed to do it. So it's, I felt differently, but at the same time, years ago, I would have felt differently, but Starship has not made nearly the progress that it has to at this point in order to get the job done this decade.
Yeah. Well, and you talking about the moon and landings just reminded me about some stuff here. I'm going to get your, insight on it. All of the landers that have crashed lately, we've only had one. Was it Firefly? I can't remember. It was successful.
Yes.
I don't understand what's going on. Why are they having such a hard time doing this?
First of all, thank you, BJ, for the super chat that just came in. I really, really appreciate it. The reason is, for one thing, all of these are very low cost solutions. These are cut rate lunar landers. If you compare them to any unmanned vehicle that NASA has attempted to land on another body in the solar system, there's so little money that's been spent on these things. Therefore, you don't have a lot of backup systems. You don't have a lot of backup engines or LiDAR alternatives, etc. These guys are really trying to land these things by the seat of their pants. And again, that's the whole magic of the CLPS. The CLIPS program is trying to find somebody who can do this on the cheap. And so far, the good news is that Firefly has demonstrated that they can do this inexpensively. And incidentally, Blue Origin was part of the mission. They were part of the hey, producer, I've got something saying power is off in 5 minutes to save energy. Just wanted to let you know that that was going on. So in any event, so actually the fact that Firefly has succeeded, assuming they can do this more than once, assuming this wasn't a one-trick pony kind of situation, I would say that the CLIPS program is very successful if they found one CLIPS lander that can do the job. But of course, the problem with Blue Moon, and I've criticized this design before, it's designed too much like the landers that have failed. It's too tall, and the landing gear is not wide enough, and that really worries me.
Yeah, I can see that. So, last few things here before we wrap it up. You know, I've been lucky enough to interview you when I first started my channel. And as you know, and you know, 60,000 subscribers prior, you know that I'm a Star Trek themed podcast and whatnot. And so this also ties, I can tie this into your UAP and alien stuff. So, you know, do you think at some point in time we might have an alien encounter like we do in Star Trek and all of that?
Like Star Trek, I have my doubts. Like
Yeah.
in First Contact, where the Vulcans sat down and we
Yeah.
walk up and say hi. I got my doubts about that because honestly, my personal belief is the things that we've been seeing are unmanned, artificial intelligence controlled, extremely advanced little probe ships that have been sent to us to check it out. And once again, I'm not even convinced that they were sent here specifically to look at us as a species. Remember that, if you go beyond 100 light years away from our planet, it's very unlikely that anybody's even going to be aware of the fact that there is a sophisticated civilization on this planet. 100 more than 100 light years away, and you're not seeing anything except an industrial age planet. If you can, assuming you can even see that. So these probes, and what if they were sent from the other side of the Milky Way? That's 100,000 light years, So I would say there's a decent chance that these things have come here specifically more to explore a promising planet in the Goldilocks zone rather than specifically to look at us. And we could be looking at a lot further in the future before we actually make face-to-face contact with a biological alien, a Vulcan, if you will.
Exactly, and that even leads me into my next question. We'll probably wrap it up here in a second, but one of my Patreon questions I asked you was about why did we stop having nuclear propulsion, and when or not when, but we got rid of nuclear propulsion, and we are going to need probably almost faster than light speed to or find some sort of a wormhole, or if those even exist, but a much more advanced propulsion solution than what we have today. I mean, what is your thoughts on us achieving even a fraction of the speed of light?
Well, to depress the big time sci-fi viewers, I think it's very unlikely that the speed of light barrier can be broken, or circumnavigated by a warp drive or a wormhole or something along those lines. In my opinion, that stuff is very likely or very probably scientifically impossible. Why? Well, because if that was possible, if that could be done, given the size of the universe and how many advanced civilizations there must be, there would have to be hundreds, if not thousands, of civilizations that would have figured out how to do that by now. Why are we not up to our armpits in aliens? Surely some of them would prefer not to contact us, but not all of them. Why haven't
True.
we seen somebody? And in my opinion, the reason we haven't seen them is because the speed of light is a real barrier. And so as a result, 40, 50% of the speed of light, that may be the maximum that we can get up to. However, Avi Loeb did crunch some numbers in regards to the fast radio burst. There's some fast radio bursts in the universe that we can explain, but others that we can't. And he decided, okay, what if one of these fast radio bursts was used to push a solar or a more of a radio sail, not a solar sail, but a radio sail to a high percentage of the speed of light and carry a cargo with it. And the numbers he came up with are amazing. It can push 500,000 tons worth of cargo up to 50% of the speed of light. So I think that it's very possible that high sublight travel may be possible in the future. But that still only puts stars in our immediate neighborhood within our reach. And the other side of the Milky Way, well, the only way you're going to go there is if you can hit 99.999% of the speed of light and use time dilation to get you there. But of course, by the time you get there, 100,000 years will have passed on the place that you left behind. And so you won't be able to come back and tell everybody about what you saw. So yeah, kind of a sad thing, but at the same time, I think it does explain why we're seeing the things that we do now.
Well, so no, 7-day trips to Vulcan and back or Kronos is anytime soon. It
Yeah,
sounds like.
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I've got my doubts.
Well, I will say this, and then I'll let you give us an outro here, but I just want to say thank you for letting me interview again today. And also I think you were like my 6th interview when I first started the channel. So if anybody wants to go watch that, please do. It's out there. And we talk about a lot of other things besides, but we really learn more about his love for the original series and everything else. But
yeah, guys, don't
Henry,
miss the transporter room. They've been a generous sponsor of this channel a couple of times, and it's great content and great interviews. If you like Star Trek, you'll like the transporter room. It's as simple as that.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Well, folks, once again, I want to thank you guys so much. I continue to be in a state of disbelief to the fact that, I'm sitting here at 205,000 subscribers at the moment. The channel is growing like never before. None of this would have been possible if it wasn't for you incredible viewers, and especially the people who support me on Patreon, the people who support me in other ways. You folks make all of this possible and keep this channel afloat. Thank you so much for all of that. Be sure to check the description for various ways to support this channel if you'd like to do that. And also keep in mind, I have a new Patreon exclusive video coming out very, very soon. Within the next 24 hours or so is when it should be coming out. So keep your eyes open for that. Thanks again for watching. And until next time, stay angry about space.